Hey guys, welcome back to Wells Firewood. Today I'm doing a review on the Eastonmade 2228. I've had it just over 3 months. If you've seen the channel before, about 5 months ago I had the first one. There were some scratches on the rod and the cycle time was kind of slow, so I got a hold of Eastonmade and let them know what was going on. They told me to check the filter, the cartridge style filter for metal shavings. So unfortunately there were metal shavings in the hydraulic filter, so that means there's metal shavings throughout the system. Anyway, Andrew from Eastonmade said that they would replace the splitter with a new one. So great customer service. They picked up the old one and brought a new one. I was thinking they would pick the old one up and drop a new one off at the same time, but for being down here in Florida, they must do pretty good business in the South. So worked for me, great customer service. I really appreciate that. So the Eastonmade splitters all have these processor style wedges. The 511 and up are basically the same frame. I believe they get heavier, the frame itself, the H-beam, after a 1222, I believe they get heavier. I know for a fact the wedges are bigger when you go from a 1222 to a 2228. I think they're 1 inch. These are 1.25 inches. And these down here are about 3/4 inch. So the wedges are about 150-200 pounds. I'm not sure exactly how much they weigh, but they're heavy. Much easier to lift them with a tractor or skid steer or chain hoist or whatever you got. Or you can stand up here on this catch tray and grab the wings and pull straight up. You disengage it with the arm. There's no pins. It just has a bushing that goes from one side to the other. You lower that all the way down and it disengages and you just pull straight up. So aluminum catch band. They have an extended version. It's 20 inches longer. This, in my opinion, is not long enough. When you push the log through, it's kind of stops here, and then the next log pushes it all the way through. So the next pass you do, the pieces are pretty much falling on the ground. So if you had the extended catch tray, that's how much longer it would be. So it's 20 inches longer. You have your 16-inch piece of firewood right here, so you would be able to split longer without it falling on the ground. If you do a lot of resplits like me, I don't have a conveyor, so I do a lot of resplits, and I find that they fall off the table, and I'm always trying to stop what I'm doing and keep them from falling on the ground because I don't want to bend over and pick them up. So all the Eastonmades have this leg. I took the jack off. 75% of the time I split from this side, so I feel like when I'm running this, the jack is in my way. But you jack it up, let the leg down, and then lower it down, lock the pin in, and it stabilizes from one side to the other. You have 2 feet on it. Just gives you a little bit of stability. This splitter actually isn't on very level ground. That leg actually got bent a little bit. Just one of them deals. Somebody wasn't paying attention and started running the splitter with the leg up and bent the leg. That's one thing you do have to pay attention to before you start running this. You have to have that stabilizer leg down, because if you don't, when you start adjusting your wedge height, you're gonna bend that leg with that big blue arm right there that pivots up and down. So you definitely want to make sure that's down before you start splitting. So log cradle, awesome design. You got a little over 8 inches. So anything you throw in here that's over 8 inches is going to center itself unless it's crooked. So it makes it super easy. The cradle is super thick. It's close to 3/4 inch. So I mean, the frame is 1 inch. It's built on an H-beam, basically the same as an I-beam, just a little bit different configuration. But the frame measures a little bit under 1 inch, but I'm sure it's probably called 1 inch right here. It's just a hair under 1 inch, but it's super thick, super heavy. Machine weighs 2,500 pounds, so you're not going to run into any problems with it being too light or something bending or breaking. That's not the kind of machine you're going to have problems with that. It's super heavy duty and super well built. So the splitters all have the brass and phenolic wear plates. I guess there's lots of different kinds of phenolic. I'm not sure exactly what kind of phenolic it is, but it's super wear resistant, really good material for surface wear, like on this beam, and brass with big heavy bolts going through, and more phenolic on the bottom. So that piece obviously goes all the way through to the other side, and keeps you from wearing your beam down. So the Eastonmade splitters all have the super heavy duty giant push block all the way down to the beam. It's 17 inches. So it's 17 inches by 16 inches. Definitely adequate. It's pretty big. So the cylinder on the 2228 is massive. The rod is really big compared to the 37D. They're both 37 ton. If you watch my videos, you can watch the 2228 run side by side with 37D. Both 37 ton, just the gas version has a bigger cylinder, much bigger rod. If you ever saw Andrew's video where he lays out the 2228 and the 1222 cylinders, you'll see just how much bigger the 2228 cylinder is compared to 1222. 1222 is 24 ton, this is 37 ton, so a lot bigger cylinder. So just like any other splitter with auto cycle, you push both of these, the push plate goes to the wedge, pops back, the push plate comes back home, pops back. But you don't have to use auto cycle. If you're not familiar with auto cycle and you feel like it might be dangerous or whatnot, you don't have to use auto cycle. You can run this just like a regular log splitter. Now if you push it all the way down, it's going to lock, but you don't have to run it like that. You can run it as fast or as slow as you want to. So that being said, you can also retract the cylinder slower if you want to, if you feel like that's safer for doing resplits, which I do that. I ran box store splitters for over 15 years, so it feels sometimes more natural for me to run it like that anyway. But if you have straight as an arrow wood, you're gonna want to run that auto cycle, and there's no point in not using auto cycle if you have nice straight wood. So the far lever is the log lift, and the inside lever is the wedge height. Very important to have wedge height adjustment on a splitter If you have a 4-way that you can't adjust, if you run it all the time, you probably won't like it. So very nice feature. Most all the higher end commercial splitters, you're going to be able to adjust your wedge, and they come with a log lift. 23 horsepower Vanguard motor, haven't had any issues with it. Starts, runs good. You can pull start it. If the battery's dead, just turn the key on. When I first started using the splitter, I thought it kind of used a little bit more gas than I would like for it to use, but honestly it probably uses about 1 gallon an hour, which is not bad at all. I just kind of was thinking in my head that it was using a little bit too much gas, but probably just overthinking it. 28 gallon per minute pump, 2-stage pump. So it is electric start, standard. The battery's tucked in the frame there. So just like all the Eastonmade splitters, you can pull the tongue out and put it in the front. You wouldn't want to tow the splitter down the road like this, especially without a wedge in it, or without the cylinder pushed out. It'll fishtail on you pretty bad. So the gas tank it says 6.6 gallons. If you take it out and take it to a gas station, you'll get about 6 gallons in it. So like I said, right around 1 gallon an hour. So if you get 6 gallons in it, it should run for about 6 hours. The 2228 comes with a hydraulic oil cooler. If you're running the splitter commercially, you don't want the hydraulic system to get hot. You don't want your fluid to be hot. So the oil cooler is definitely much needed. On the 2228, when you shut the key off, the oil cooler fan will stay running. On my 37D, it does not do that. The fan shuts off with the key. 25 gallon hydraulic tank, oil fill, cartridge style filter, sight gauge, temperature gauge, and that plastic boat style gas tank locks with that bar. You just pull that pin out, the bar goes all the way across into that notch in the bottom of the plastic tank through to the other side. So I believe everything above the 1222 has the heavy duty welded on fenders. It's got 13-inch tires. So they say if you tow it from the traditional side that you can go 50 miles an hour. If you tow it from the opposite side, you can go about 30. I know from experience, I drove down the road pulling it that way, and there was no wedge in it. It started fishtailing pretty bad. That was my fault because I forgot to switch the tongue side. So I should have just put the tongue in the front over here. So the Eastonmade log lift doesn't have sides or anything. It's flat. It just has a lip right there and teeth going up. So they all have the floating log lift design. That wheel is just attached to the cylinder, and it does not attach to the log lift, so you don't smash your foot or bend something, which is a really good design. I like that. I like that it's not attached to the log lift. It's already come in handy a few times between the two machines. So when you step up to a 2228, you can get a 4-way, a tall 4-way, a 6-way comes with it, or you can swap it out for something else. You can get an 8-way and a 12-way. You can get all the box wedges, which is a 7-way, 5-way, and a 7-way pizza box wedge. The 7-way pizza box wedge would be for really nice straight straight grain wood that splits really easy. So as far as power goes with the 2228, it's super powerful. If you've seen my channel before, you know that we have a 37D. So I see no difference in power. They're both 37 ton. They're both super strong splitters. If you split tree service wood, knotty wood, you're gonna need higher tonnage. So if you split over 50 cords a year and you're selling wood, you probably want to go for a 2228. Right now, a 2228 is under 18,000. We're going into April of 2025, so a year from now it's probably going to be a different price. So a 37D right now is just under 27,000. So that's a pretty big difference in price if you're thinking about buying one of these big machines. So I'm going to run around through the splitter, get the hydraulic fluid warmed up, and we're going to do dry cycle time on it, see what the cycle time actually is. It's listed as 6 seconds, so we're going to find out. So guys, we're losing daylight here, but looks like 2228 has about a 6.5 second cycle time, which is still super fast. So I definitely would buy it again. I'm very happy with it. Really like their customer service. They've been very good to me. I bought 2 machines from them now, so they're very easy to deal with. If you're looking for a commercial splitter, don't overlook Eastonmade. Check out their website. There's a lot of different splitters to choose from. But anyway guys, if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. If you want to see future videos, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one, guys.